What's up everybody, King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. It's been a while since my last video, but I have been busy, and a lot of what I've been doing in the crypto space is really just trying to figure out more of this NFT stuff. Honestly, patience is better than just FOMOing into everything at this point. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Before I do, make sure you guys head on over to my Patreon page. On my Patreon, you're getting access to all of my videos up to 2 to 3 days early, as well as access to my Discord community, and especially when things start heating up, when I start finding something on a roll that's going to be a good opportunity for you guys that are neck deep into this crypto stuff. So we've had some winners, we've had some losers over the past kind of week or so since I've made my last video, but I do want to talk about some things that are up and coming that could potentially be successful, and that keyword is always potentially, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes, like I said, there have been a lot that I've found recently that have not really done much, and there's also been a lot that are currently just marinating in terms of where the growth could happen, and they're going to be long-term holds in that sense. But let's talk about the stuff that's up and coming. Firstly, the last big success that I had was CreatureToadz in the NFT space, as well as a few other Toad projects. Now we have another project here called CreatureToadz. This is actually a pretty cool project because it's a combination of two things. The combination of the Creature NFT, which is currently doing and has done really well, as well as the CreatureToadz NFT, which is currently doing well and has been doing well for a long time. So both of these artists kind of came together, brought their communities together, and when you have two strong communities, two strong NFTs come together, I mean, pretty much only good things can happen as long as everything rolls out smoothly. And this thing has been flying sort of under the radar due to the fact that the NFT space overall has been in a downward trend in the past week. So a lot of people have had their eyes off of the NFT space. But if we just take a look right here and we see what the CreatureToadz or the CreatureToadz is doing right now in terms of the floor price. Their floor price is, I think, at a pretty okay point right here at 0.43 Ethereum per CreatureToadz. And another thing to look at, I think I have it here on the Nansen space right here. You can see that there is actually a huge demand for this a few minutes ago from a lot of people buying. You can see a lot of notable buyers and a huge chunk of buyers right here. I think part of that has to do with the reveal for the CreatureToadz overall too. But nonetheless, I think you can see some pretty good heights here. In fact, we're going to do some comparisons to the CreatureToadz to see where this thing can go. But some metrics that I'm looking at is the total number of items. This is a little less than 10K, as well as the total number of owners. And, it's good to see that your owners the owner number should be close to the number of items. That tells you that there's potentially a really good amount of distribution, and it tells you that there shouldn't be any major floor price dumping when you have a lot of variety in the people holding the token. You can have somebody just dump all of their tokens at the same time for the most part. So is this a good price? Could it be better? I think those are questions that only you can decide, but I am excited for this project. And now before I forget, I know I usually forget stuff later on in the video, let's go ahead and compare this to CreatureToadz. So again, we're looking at a floor price of 0.43 Ethereum for the CreatureToadz project. CreatureToadz is currently sitting at a floor price of about 6.55 Ethereum. So that's over a 10x with a very similar number of assets and a similar ratio of assets to owners. So that's why I did pick up a couple CreatureToadz, because of where it can go with those communities. Now I'm not going to get too much into any more details because I'm still learning a lot of this stuff in terms of which metrics are the best to take a look at for growth. A lot of it is guesswork no matter what, but from what I'm seeing, it could do well. Moving on to the next thing on the list, I think I wanted to talk about Loopy Donuts, and I also wanted to talk about PartyDegenerates. So let's go ahead and go over to PartyDegenerates. So I don't have this pulled up on Nansen. I should have done that before the video. It's going to take a little bit too long for me to get the contract address and everything else like that. However, This one currently does have a floor price of about 0.092 Ethereum. So that's almost 1 ETH floor price. Now, some things to note about this. So even though I don't have the specs pulled up on Nansen, on October 31st on Halloween, I think they're supposed to do their reveal for the PartyDegenerates. Now, one of the reasons why I did get excited or like this project at least a little bit is because of the people involved in this. So if we take a look down here, their team, you get a lot of big names on the team, and even more important, I like the artists on here. A lot of the artists that you see on here are involved with PartyDegenerates. And that means that, again, the people in the NFT space that are connected to the communities that these other artists have already put out there are going to potentially be involved and excited about PartyDegenerates as well as their art gets released. You have Joy, John O'Ryan Young, who I had NFTs for a long time, about a year. I've had some of his NFTs, and a lot of other pictures on here you'll notice look similar to some NFTs that we've seen before. I think Billy Liss also made the NFT about the eggs, the galaxy eggs, similar art to that. So again, those metrics I think are very important in terms of finding some of these winners in the short term. Now, we can talk about some of the failures that I've had as well, but those are just two of the NFTs that I'm looking at pretty closely right now. We'll see what happens with both of these things. Again, I've been really wrong, especially recently, but these things can also do really well with what they have. Now, talking about some of the failures, let me go ahead and go over to my profile page. Some things that we've talked about in the past. Now, I didn't make a video about it, but I did do a Patreon post about the CreatureToadz NFT. Now, a lot of this stuff it's going to be a kind of a long-term hold at the current moment. With CreatureToadz, I think you have a solitary developer who is doing everything. And the downside to that is you can't really get the ball rolling with community and with a lot if you're doing this NFT stuff by yourself. And with CreatureToadz, it's kind of the one person that might have bitten off more than he can chew, and updates aren't coming along, community is panicking. So that's why the price of CreatureToadz has not really moved too much, even though the concept is just as exciting as a lot of other stuff that has come out. The execution of everything has not been the best for CreatureToadz. So that one currently is an L. We'll see what happens with it, but I'm looking at other things at the current moment. Luby Donuts is another one. They have a lot going on with them and with their chill token. I think their white paper is supposed to release actually sometime pretty soon. I think I do have the Nansen pulled up for Luby Donuts. Now, the thing with this is they haven't really had too much positive movement, but at the same time, they haven't had that much negative movement either. It's pretty much just an under the radar project at the current moment. Once this white paper does get released, we might see a little bit more interest, we might see a little bit more growth, and then the snowball effect could happen with Luby Donuts. But I do have a lot of Luby Donuts stored up, kind of sitting on the sideline, marinating, as I would say, to see what's going to happen with these things later on. Could be nothing, could be parabolic growth, or we could just see a steady, slow decline over time. But I don't have any quips with my Luby Donuts at the current moment. Same thing with Video Game Dev Squad and Paladin Pandas. Both of those are sort of just marinating on the sidelines as well. So we'll see what happens with those, especially with some of those longer term holds that have a game coming out soon. And finally, for honorable mention, there is another NFT that I'm just doing preliminary research on called Women and Weapons. This one is getting a lot of buzz right now. A lot of people are interested in purchasing and picking up some of these things right now, as you can see on Nansen. So it seems to have a pretty strong community, but we'll see overall kind of where Women and Weapons ends up on the leaderboard later on. So that's kind of everything that I have to bring to you guys. Again, I wouldn't really consider myself the NFT expert at all. I'm really learning a lot of this stuff, and one of the things that I'm starting to realize is even though some of these top 50, top 20 projects on OpenSea are very expensive, it's probably the place that I'm going to want to focus on as opposed to really just looking for the new hot upcoming gems that are unknown. While I kind of could confidently do that with altcoins, it's a lot more difficult with NFTs because there's just so many of these things that pop up on a daily basis, and a lot of them just don't work. So finding kind of the right community, and I said this in the beginning when I started doing this, but finding the right community of people to find the right communities of NFTs is important. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And the easier thing to do as far as flipping, if you can afford some of these higher market cap NFTs, is to get one of these, and you can sit on them for a lot longer without panicking, and you can flip them a lot easier compared to some of the newer ones that just mint or just don't do anything after they launch. That's just my opinion. We'll see where these things head. Let me know what you guys think. And again, head on over to my Patreon page if you guys want to talk more about this in Discord or stuff like that. All right, guys, catch you in the next video. Peace out.